Hi y'all. So I am back. I am going to I said I would do a little video of just this old abandoned barn. And so I'm going to do that. So let me tell you, this is a great barn. I have a lot of good memories in this barn playing. And this barn is pretty abandoned now. But I want to take you and show you a few things about it and tell you a little bit about it. So for background, I am at the old Swader Ranch. This is the old home place that my grandpa lived and my dad was raised. My dad was an only child, and he had great memories of living here in Matoy, Oklahoma, out in the middle of nowhere, literally. There's not much left in Matoy. We have a cemetery. I might take you there. And a few other little, that's it. Just a little town with a cemetery left. That's all. It's kind of forgotten history now. But my dad used to ride a horse. His name was Bill, to school and back. This was the barn that Bill probably stayed in, along with a lot of the other animals that my grandpa raised. So let me tell you and show you around this really neat old barn. Check out this barn. My grandpa bought this land back in the 1930s. So he probably built this barn. So it's been sitting here for a very, very long time, considering this is the year 2022. One of the bragging rights that my grandpa had was he got a loan on this land back in the 30s, late 30s, I guess, and he paid it off within just a few years. And it made the paper, because people just didn't do that back then during that time with the Depression and things. But then when my grandpa and my grandma lived here, then my grandma got sick and died of cancer in 1977. So my grandpa stayed out here by himself for a long time with the ranch, and then eventually moved into town. And in 1987, my mom, my dad, and I moved back to Oklahoma to raise some cows on this land. I was about a freshman in high school. So from about a freshman in high school up until about maybe 10 to 12 years ago, we owned this land and ran cows. And I used to come out here and ride horses out here. We had a horse named Queen. I used to ride her all over the place. I used to take my dog, Cash. We would walk down to the creek and play in the creek and come back, and just fishing memories and all kinds of great memories here. So let me take you inside this old barn. Now the first thing you're going to notice that is it's falling down. But it did not look like this when we had the barn. We kept it up and we used it. Of course, we had cows, so we had to have fences around it. But I'm going to take, ow, sticky bush, ow, ow, and ow. There's a lot of hazards in this barn, so I'm going to be looking at the ground some and looking. So this is the little barn. Now, the people who own it, they don't ranch, and that's fine. But it brings back a lot of memories. So when I lived here, the loft was in working condition. Now you can see there's holes everywhere. This is one of the feed rooms. And let me see what might be in here. Look, there's an old telephone. Some rope, an old chain. You know, there's an old horse halter. That's probably ours, because we probably didn't clean this thing out very well when we. And I'm pretty. Ooh, I see a wasp. So be careful, Tanny K. So, my grandpa wrote on here too. See, my grandpa used to write. What a discovery! I didn't even know there was writing on the inside. My grandpa used to write on all these walls, and most of the writing on the outside has faded, but not on the inside. Well, what a great thing to discover. So let me show you some of this that my grandpa wrote. So this says, married August, no wait. Oh, Mama died August 2nd, 1977. So that's when my grandma died. So grandma died August 2nd, 1977 in Denison, Texas hospital. April 10th, 1980s when he wrote that, I guess. I am lonesome. My grandpa wrote that. This is Kansas. I don't know what that says, actually. So, if I can't read it, maybe some of you can. Clint Dick, George Ansel. No, G.O.B. Ansel. Ansel. Someone came to visit. Let's see what this says. Yeah. Don't want to get stung, so I'm going to be real careful while I'm showing you this stuff. April 1976, on July, it says, big, I don't know. July 1976, April 5th. That sounds like the year that my grandmother died, but it didn't, because she died in 77. So, let me move over a little more. Let's see what this says up here. Lena died, that's my grandma, August 2nd, 1977, at the Denison Hospital. That's just twice he's wrote that in here. LV, birth, December, oh, yeah, this is his birthday. LV Swader, December 1996. LV's birthday. Maybe he wrote that in 1970, because he didn't die in 61. So I'm not sure. Let's see if I can get up close enough to read that. Oh, look, Terry, December 1st, 1960. What does that say? There. That's the year I was born. Hold on, let me see if I can get a little closer view, y'all, without falling in a hole. Let's see what that says, if I can read it. Someone died July 24th, 1971. I'm not sure who that was. So my grandpa just loved to write his history on these walls. It's kind of interesting. Let's see what this one might say. Durant, April 1946. Sherman, April 12, 1972. That is like somebody who might have died. Maybe a relative. I'll have to study that a little bit more at some point. So yeah, I didn't realize he wrote all inside. That says Terry. That's my brother. Oh, let's see. Stopped feeding April 10th, 1970. Huh. Stop feeding what? Isn't that cool, guys? All right, let me see if there's any on any of the other side. Well, that was a neat discovery. Ooh, look at that old radio. Or maybe walkie-talkie. I don't know. And there's the upper stairs to the loft. That's pretty cool. I remember as a kid, there was a ton of this writing, and I always loved coming out here and trying to read. It's really weird now because, see, this one I think is a relative. I'd have to look in my ancestry to find out. So that's pretty cool. See, Clint Dilbeck died May of 1969. George B. Ansel, August 1957. Let me tell you, I think I know who that is. So, my dad, my grandpa used to work at a ranch down in Texas called the Ansel Ranch. And that's where my dad was born, on that ranch. And the owners of that ranch, last name was Ansel. So I imagine that this is probably the owner of that ranch, George B. Ansel. And that's where my dad got his name, Ansel, from. And it looks like he died in August of 1958. And then Uncle Charlie Favors died March of 1970. That's pretty cool. I think the saddest one is this one right here. Mama died August 2nd, 1977 in Denison, Texas. That's also the same place my dad died. Same hospital, just was a new hospital. And April 10th, 1980. And then it said, I am lonesome. My grandpa never remarried, but he had lots of girlfriends. Because the story goes that my mom came here to live with him before we sold our house in Kansas. And my grandpa would say, now, Wilma, don't mess me up with my girlfriends. But he never married any of them. He just dated them and went out to dinner and had fun. So anyway, that is pretty cool. So let me look around and see if I see anything else really neat. So this is one of the stalls. Look at this old oil can and steps going up. These old doors are pretty cool. Now that door I was looking at earlier before I started shooting. I would love to have that door. I really would. But anyway, this also has some great writing on it. As you can tell. That hasn't faded yet. That one says August of 1958. So. But it's kind of faded a little bit, but it's still there. Let's see what's... This one might have writing, but it's really dark, so I don't really know if you could really see it if it did. I imagine most of the writing was in the first one. There's the top. I did see on here a second ago. Let me see if I can find it. I saw where it had on here my brother's birthday. But now I don't know. Here it is. Terry Ansel, I think. But anyway, how cool is that? Oh my gosh, it's hot out here, people. Ooh, there's some more writing on this door. I'll be lucky if I get out of here without getting stung by a wasp. This one says, ooh, something, he bought something for $116, but I can't tell. He bought something there for $13. March 10th, 1971. April 23rd, 1971. And I don't know. Isn't that interesting? I don't know what that means. But he kept records. Maybe that's when he bought food or grain for the animals or something. Ain't that cool? So obviously this probably was where they kept some of the grain. Someone has broken glass down here. Look at this. Oh, gas heater. You don't see anything like that much anymore. Ooh. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now, these are ceramic molds. I know where they came from. They came from our house in Kansas because my mom used to own a ceramic shop. Oh, I thought that was glass. It's plastic. Anyway, there's some old screens, tire, an old horse stand. Yep. Some old bottles. Check that out. An old broken glass. I don't know where that came from. There is no glass in here. That's weird. Woo! Steppity step step. Don't step on the nails. Like I said, this was a working barn when we had it. This has only gone downhill in the last 10 or 15 years. But that happens when it's just kind of not being used. But it still has great memories. Let's see. Should I dare to be gutsy? All right. Yeah, I don't know what's in there. Just lots of yuckiness. Anything on the inside of the door of this one? Nope. All right. There's an old peephole. I don't know what that was for. So back here in the back, we had fences around, and we run cows through here and work cows. And there's an old galvanized watering bucket over there. One of the last memories I had when we owned this land was when we got ready to sell it. We came out and took out this fence that was around here because my dad was moving cows to a different land and we was going to use it for cows. So we dug up all these fence posts, and that was the first time I have ever had poison ivy, and it was horrible. I remember that. So I'd love to have that galvanized water trough over there, which is probably ours to begin with, because this guy doesn't run cows. He just feeds the deer. So yeah, here's the back of the barn. Well, you guys came along with me, and I discovered some new stuff that I hadn't seen in a very long time on the walls. Now we're walking back. Grandpa I don't know why he has so many nails in the walls, but he did. Oh, here's some more writing. That's like math writing. Man, I don't know what these are. Look at those weird tracks. Any ideas what those are, people? If you do know, let me know down in the comments. This looks like an old refrigerator of some sort. Yep. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of that song, Precious Memories, how they linger. Maybe you guys can finish the rest of that song. Or, you know, there's always the song, Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. I wish I could interview Grandpa now, or even Dad. Boy, my dad had great stories. I wish he was here so I could tell you those great stories. But, yeah, he had good stories. And most of them were written on the walls right here. Used to have a lot of writing on this wall too, but they've faded through the years. See if I can walk out here out of this little jungle. Now, that was cool. Now over here, I want to tell you, there used to be another little barn. It pretty much fell down by the time we got the land, but when I was a little bitty kid, there was another barn over here. And my grandpa, it was just more of a shed, but it was a tool shed. And my grandpa had tools in it. I'm probably going to have stickies all over my shoes. And what I remember is he had license plates, old license plates on all the walls. And I have a picture of me when I was about 6, sitting on my mom's lap out here by this. Maybe if I can find a way, I'll show you a couple pictures at the end of this video. But yeah, these were old license plates. But I was sitting there on a bench, and it was when I had broke my foot after I had fell out of a dually truck, and my mom had accidentally, I fell out of the truck and she ran over my foot before she could stop, and all I got was a broken foot. But I have that picture in front of that old barn. It's cool. Well, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this little tour back in the old days. Now see, we had fences here. This is where we run the cows through and load them into, see the old stands right there? Yeah. Memories, precious memories. My dad's gone now. My grandpa's gone. My grandma. But my brother's still keeping on the tradition of ranching and baling hay. And my mom is still here telling great stories. And as long as I can tell stories and shoot videos, and those stories will still be remembered. So I hope you all have a great day, and thank you for joining me and going on this little adventure through my grandpa's old barn.